On behalf of your host, Steve D, this is Bruce Buffer saying thank you for tuning in to Xtreme Life. And now, this is the moment Xtreme Life fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
So welcome. I'm here today with Eva Schultz. She is a pro Muay Thai fighter and a coach. And just correct me if I'm wrong on anything here.
Perfect.
You basically you split your time between Denmark and Thailand, but I can imagine over the last year that has been a little difficult. I hope number one, Happy New Year. Number two, I hope everybody is healthy and well on your end of the, on in your family and everywhere over there, because it's been a tough year. I think we're all
it's a tough year for the whole world, actually. So
yeah. We're all ready for 2020 to go away, and we're glad.
Yeah, I think it's a weird time. It has been a very weird year for everybody. Like, we close down, we open up, we close down again, and now everything has closed down in Denmark one more time. So we have wave 2 flushing all over now. So we really had to take care how we go outside and who we meet, and the government is constantly giving us guidelines how to prevent it. So difficult.
What you got going on sounds like the same thing. I mean,
Yes.
It's been a nightmare, and it's and I feel for people who are having difficult times now with their businesses and things like that because they're being forced to shut down, and it's tough. And I know a lot of.
I think it's very sad for many people and many business, because maybe they survived it for the first time, but now it seems to go on again. So the second time, many people cannot survive, and business really have to close down. So I think it gives a lot of problem for people, and I pray for them and hope everybody can try to take just one day at a time, even though it's not easy when you have financial problems, and
it's not.
It's really a mess.
I know a lot of people in the travel, because I do a little, normally I would be doing a lot of traveling and doing different things. I know a lot of people in that industry and hospitality and in gym owners, people who are trainers. I know a lot of people in combat sports who own gyms, and people in CrossFit own gyms. And, it's just, and depending on, it's weird in the United States too, because depending on what state you're in, we all have different rules.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Some states,
Okay.
it's really kind of, it's crazy. California is the most restricted. New Jersey is probably somewhere up in there, which is where I am. And then you have states like Florida and a few other states that pretty much didn't lock down at all. They're just like, we're wide open.
Wow, then it's going to be very difficult to kind of get a hold on this pandemic. I think it'll be difficult. Yeah. But when I look at how things are working in Thailand, many gyms are really closing down, and you see them they sell everything, and the big issue for them is that many of them, they make a long-term rent for the property, but they cannot pay the rent, so they have to give it all up and sell all the stuff, and many people go to depression, and they cannot provide for their families, and Muay Thai seem to be kind of dying out a little bit, and it's very sad for them also, because they kind of earn their money by having all the falang coming for training, so now nobody's going for training. Everybody's very scared, and the gyms are really in a bad condition, and it really breaks my heart, but that's the consequences of all this now.
And I hear you, and that's the thing. It breaks my heart too, because these are all, things that everybody enjoys. It seems like everything that people enjoy kind of had to stop for, everybody hit the pause button for a year. Unfortunately, bills keep coming. And that's
unfortunately they do come. They come.
They didn't stop coming. They didn't hit pause. Everybody else did, which is the hard thing. you know, for people.
Yes, it really is.
It's heartbreaking to see places closing down and legendary gyms struggling. I mean, I know a few right now that are legendary MMA gyms that are struggling because of this whole thing and the constant, you know, what are the rules? We don't know. Here's this rule and this rule. And, you know, you don't know what to do. And, you know, and I'm hoping, you know, I'm coming into 2021 and I hope everybody, I hope most people are with a cautious optimism.
Exactly.
Which is, you know, we got vaccines coming out now. We got some, you know, and you know, hopefully, like I said, hopefully that's our doorway back to normal, in my opinion. You know, I hope so. You know, I mean, I don't know, you know, not everybody, you know, will take it, and that's okay. No. But there's a lot of people who will, and hopefully enough people who do will you know, hopefully we could develop that herd immunity we're looking for. And
yes, we can hope so. And like you, I take my cautions, but still I'm hopefully for the 2021 for coming. And I think we have to keep our optimism and try to see the best what we can see in all this, you know, because we have to find new ways how to do things now. We have to think creative. We have to try to find possibilities. And I usually say to people, don't look at all the limitations. Try to see if you can find an opening for something that makes something possible for you, to keep it going, you know. So, but it's not easy for everybody. It's not.
Really interesting creative things, you know, so it's good to be.
Yes.
You know, the one thing, you know, through human history, as you look at it, now there's a lot of doomsday kind of people running around right now.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Doomsday stuff.
Yeah.
But.
Why are you laughing? Okay, I got you. I know what you're talking about.
When you look at human history, you know, every time there's a very bad time, usually when we come out of it, we go into kind of a renaissance for a while. So hopefully that's where we're headed. Hopefully when this is over, we go back and people are in a whole new frame and you know, people come together a bit more and we're able to be in and you know, like I said, I want to come into this year with a lot of optimism. And that being said, let's get out of all that negative crap because I don't want to talk about negative anymore. Let's get let's go
throw it out.
Throw it out with the, you know, let's put 2020 in the rear view mirror and let's get into 2021. Let's talk about you and your, you know, your career and how you've developed as an athlete and you know, tell me a little bit about your story. I mean, what got you into Muay Thai boxing? I mean, what made you decide to do that? Is it something you've had you know, since you were a kid, or is it something you started to do later, or you know, tell me your story.
Okay, I started I first was introduced to it was not Muay Thai, it was some kickboxing fitness in the local fitness gym, and I was in a place where I really needed to do something good for me. My son was getting big and he started to, you know, go with his friends, and I was like, why you don't want to sit here with your mom anymore, you know? So I thought it was about time for me to start focusing more on myself again. And I needed to find a sport that would kind of challenge me physically, because I've been doing triathlon, I've been running marathons and, you know, doing really, really hard sports. So I needed something that could challenge me physically, but also I wanted something that could challenge me on a more mental level. So I went to the gym, the fitness gym, and then I was participating in one of the classes, and it was just like, boom, I fall in love right away.
You drank the Kool-Aid.
It was like falling in love. And I was like, wow, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Yeah. And then I decided that, okay, I want to have a goal. I would like to be the national champion. And so I went to the Muay Thai gym in our city and told it to the guys, and they were laughing at me up my face. They said, maybe you should try joining training. So I'm very, you know, my mind is very strong. So when I put a goal, I don't do 50%, then I go like all in, all in.
That
so I went to
that sounds familiar to me a little bit, but
yes, I can imagine that. So I went down there, and I was the only girl in the gym, and I was still determined that I wanted to fight, and they practically beat the shit sorry. They beat me so tough. They were so tough on me, And I was bruised and bumpy, and oh my God, but I kept coming back day after day, and they were like, "What? Are you coming again?"
We thought we got rid of you.
But I kept coming, so they kind of got used to me joining it. And I had my first fight, and I was like high for 1 week.
Yeah.
I was high on adrenaline, like, this is the biggest kick I ever had in my life. And I was like, whoa, I couldn't sleep. And it was really amazing. So I knew I found what I wanted.
Well, I'm taking you won that fight, right?
Yeah.
You won, okay.
I won that fight, yeah. Knee, boom, elbow.
Oh, really? You got
it was amazing. Yeah, so I just, then I was just determined, and I've been doing my training every day ever since. Of course, if I get sick or something, I don't do training, but it just kind of slowly developed, and I developed my skills more and more because I was determined on doing it, but also I had a very, very amazing personal journey in all this also, because it did something to me inside that it's difficult to put words on if you have not tried it. It's like you have to do it, then you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But you go through a journey that is kind of, it's parallel travel you do in your personality and the development you make, and how you go out and meet the world.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So
one thing I've seen in a lot of fighters too is a lot of fighters, people who train in martial arts, there's something, and one of the reasons I love interviewing, people. And number one, I'm very interested in it. I'm a multi-sport guy. I do a lot of stuff, but things that I get into is, there's a certain humility that most fighters have. There's a certain, like, I know something that other people don't know. Like, I figured something out about myself that other people haven't figured out. And it's kind of that piece that you have, like, and it goes into it does affect how you challenge life every single day, right? How you face life every day, when you train like that. So it sounds like that's a bit about what you're talking about.
Yes, it is that. It is what I'm talking about, and it's kind of like what you, when you're training and you do your martial arts or Muay Thai or whatever you do, you kind of go into a specific level in your mind. And it's a very beautiful place to be, but you develop something that you also kind of transform into your everyday life. So you bring it with you, and it makes you very strong as a person, and how you focus on your life, how you focus on your goals, and how you cope with everything you meet, challenges and stuff like that. So it's really amazing.
And your confidence level, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it helps your confidence level, and that sounds a lot, and your spirituality. I mean, just the whole person in general, it molds you, right? So it's and that's what I tell people all the time, because people will say to me, oh, mixed martial arts, MMA, and they look at UFC and they're like, so brutal and this and that. I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. You don't get
that's the whole point.
To go in there and see two people battle it out, beat the crap out of each other, and then hug at the end of it.
Yes.
Be like,
people think it's weird. People think it's weird.
Yeah.
Like when they said to me, I'm also a clinical psychologist, and some people say to me, how can you do this? This is bizarre. You're a psychologist, and you talk with people about their problems and stuff like that, and then you go beat the shit out of people. What is wrong with you? I say, nothing is wrong with me. You don't understand the picture here.
You got the
everything is like it's connected. You
got the DSM in one hand and your combat sports in the other. I mean, that's
Still, they go like this together, It's very interesting, because I actually used it in my therapies with when I have patients with anxiety problems. It's very, very interesting to when you go through the therapy, blah, 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 then you take in the fight sport. I tell you, the body say, thank you, ma'am. You gave me the key to heal.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. No.
So I make a combination from counseling with people, but in the end, they will also do some some martial arts and do pads with me. So I make a whole person out of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome, because I do believe that it does a lot. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, when I have a bad day or I have a tough day or I'm feeling anxious or, whatever. I mean, there's all kinds, especially this year. It's been a really tough year. And I actually, I miss going to the gym. I haven't been I've been sort of in the gym here and there where we can. But for the most part, I got all my stuff set up here. And, I go and I'll hit the bag, kick the bag, do my thing for a while. And I just come out of that. I'm like, man, I feel better. Of course, I mean, I do a bunch of different things. Usually my training regimen is a couple hours, in the morning, sometimes in the evening as well, depending on what I'm doing, because I'm trying to work multiple things as most people who are athletes are.
Yeah, exactly.
And train your weaknesses. I always try to train my weaknesses like I think you should, But I'll tell you, I come out of that feeling like, okay, I'm more relaxed. I'm much more relaxed now than I was when I walked into there. I've never walked out of a training session feeling worse.
No, never.
Than when I walked in, right? Unless I get injured. Then sometimes I feel a little worse. Get caught in a heel hook or something like that, or a Kimura, and it goes a little too far. But, but other than that, mentally you feel better. And we share something too, because I'm actually a licensed clinical social worker in my I work for a hospital system here in New Jersey.
Wow.
So I face that same question sometimes. So I kind of related when you said that, because people are like, how could you treat people? And I specialize in substance use disorders. I specialize in, and like I said, other types of disorders, but mostly substance use disorders. And they're like, well, how can you be a fighter and train in that world and or even, appreciate it for what it is and be a therapist and work with people? I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. That's what I'm telling you.
That's it. They don't understand, because I think they kind of have this picture of how therapists are supposed to be, like they are so empathic and they are so soft people and everything is about feelings and stuff. And then when you go in the gym, it's also about feelings, actually. It's just
different.
It's just a different feeling.
Yeah.
But I think the amazing part is that you can go into, if you think about how the brain is structured and how our, the primitive part of the brain is a part of us humans, then I think it's very impressive that we can go in a situation where we actually go in our fight mode and feel calm and happy.
Yep. Engage that reptilian brain, right? That fight, flight, response, and then also engage the limbic system, which is going to obviously start to be the emotional area. So you start to air that out a little bit, and then you engage your whole brain in it. I mean, really.
You do. But still, the nice feeling of being when you go in the ring and you are going to fight. For me, I always feel very, very calm, and I'm very happy. And most people say to me, how can you be like this? You're not scared. I said, no, I'm not scared, because if I am scared, I'm not supposed to go in the ring anymore.
Yeah. That's it. It's, like I said, it's a certain mindset. And, one of the things I look at, and I often tell people when they ask me these same questions that we're talking about now, and is you have to embrace every part of you, right? So I'm a therapist. I sit and I work in an office and I talk with people, and not everybody, like I said, I don't always, share a lot about myself. As a matter of fact, most times I don't. But that's one part of my life. That I can compartmentalize that into one area. And then I move into the other areas, which are, I do a lot of things, right? I'm a multi-sport athlete. I've done a lot of different sports. And I think people need to learn that you don't have to box yourself in. You don't have to say, okay, this is me and this is what everybody expects me to be, so that's what I'm going to be. And mold yourself there and be stuck there, because I think that hinders growth. I think you grow more from engaging, that movie, I kind of relate it to that movie Divergent a little bit.
Yes.
You have to embrace divergence, right? So embrace every part of you, whether that's, this, that, or the other thing. It doesn't have to be combat sports. It can be anything you want it to be, but whatever you enjoy doing, whether it's I mean,
I think it's a very good point you have, Steve, because we have this one life, and I think it's important that we that we're in this good connection with ourselves, that we deep inside we can have the inner connection with what we want to do in life, what we want to achieve in life. We cannot put our things out and what people expect us to do, because we never know what people expect us to do. Because if we point fingers out that say people expect, no, 3 fingers will point back. So you say people expect, so it's you who expect. They say, what? I say, yeah, but that's the whole point. You never know what people expect of you. And sometimes I think it's very important that for many people, they are kind of controlled from the outside world, and they don't have the connection with inside here. So they don't control the world from inside out. And I think it's important to bring people back to that, so they can kind of be in connection with what they feel. What do I want? What is my dreams? When I get 85 and I sit with my grandchildren, will I sit and be like a mean grandmother, or would I like to sit and say to my grandchildren, hey, you know what? I did everything I wanted. The whole world's all for you. You just have to make a choice.
Yeah, limit the regret, right? Limit the regret. You know,
I think it's important to do it like this.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, like I said, you could be multiple things. You don't have to limit yourself to one thing. You don't have to work on other people's agendas. You can work on your own agenda, whatever that is. And I think one of the things you're describing is that inner base peace, that inner base spirituality that people really need to embrace. Like, I'm okay with who I am, where I am, what I'm doing. And if I'm not, I need to fix some things, right? So, and figure out what I need to do.
Yeah, so if we take it on a little bit more spiritual level, then you could say maybe this pandemic has some good in the end, because people have to stop. People have time to consider. People have time to figure out if they are in the right spot in their life, or if they want to do different things, So maybe this is going to, like, people not, running too fast. But they maybe kind of get in touch with themselves, Well,
it's definitely good.
Just to see positive on it.
Oh, and you have to, right? Because what choice do you have? You could sit around being negative and get depressed and drive yourself crazy and feel anxiety, or you could take a different approach, right? You could start.
Yeah, I think the approach, again, it's about the mindset, like when people are sports people, athletes, or whatever it's kind of sport they're doing, I think they have a certain kind of mindset that makes it somehow more easy to get through challenges like this one. Because we are kind of pushed over our own limits, so we always have to look at new options in choices we make, and how can I be better, how can I be faster, how can I be stronger. So we kind of question it all the time. So I think that the mindset is so important when we have situations like this.
Oh, absolutely. And you're constantly dealing with challenges, right? Fighters and people who compete in sports, they're used to obstacles, they're used to challenges, and it's important, right? So one thing I wanted to talk about, though, is, as you go into your training, what does a typical day look like for you in your training? I know you talked a little bit about training, but what is a typical day? And is it different, right? A question I have, is it different from, let's say, when you're in Denmark to when you're in Thailand, or is it different based on what you need? And what does that look like? I'm very curious.
Yes, well, at the moment, there is no fighting. For no one, So for now, it's like I do my training 2 times a day. I go for a run in the morning, and then I usually do some CrossFit. I have different tools I can use out here at my home. And then I make some CrossFit. I focus on, getting stronger, and I focus on the muscle conditioning, because that's what's important. I don't have to be big, but I have to be strong, and the oxygen has to flow all the time when you push yourself. So, and then I, eat and I rest, and then I do a lot of work with the new Super League I'm creating here in Europe, and then I go training again. And this time I do, it's more like you training in Thailand. I jump the tire, I'm skipping, maybe I'm running a little bit, shadow boxing, I do back work. Some days I focus on really hard techniques. Sometimes I focus on moving to the side, make counter. You know, I kind of build my training up during the week, so I have as many aspects of the Muay Thai involved in what I'm doing. Yeah, so that would typically be the way it is now. But when I go to Thailand, it's of course it's hard training 2 times a day. I usually get myself ready 1 month before I go. So if all my training is in sweatsuits, even though it's 30 degrees outside, I go for the sweatsuit because I need to get used to the heat, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's just all the traditional things you do in Thailand. Yeah. I love it.
So
I love it.
Traditional Thailand training, because a lot of fighters, and I know right now everything's kind of on pause, but I know a lot of fighters that have gone to Thailand to train, right? Who basically, you know, they want to improve their stand-up game, right?
Yes.
Ground fighters, right? Like jiu-jitsu guys, things like that, or jiu-jitsu people, girls, and you know, wrestlers and all, you know, people who really need to work on their striking, or even people that have come from a boxing background, you know, and they got some Muay Thai, and then they go to Thailand, and they're like, it's a different world over there.
It is totally different world. It's totally different, and I like it because I'm kind of I'm a really traditional Muay Thai girl. I'm not like half K1 Muay Thai. I change like this. I am all in traditional Muay Thai. So when I go Thailand, I love it so much, you know, and I do so much sparring, and everybody is kind of having fun and laughing, you know, and even though it's hard training, you have fun. It's about inspiring, you know, but still we go tough on it.
Yeah.
But it's just a different world. It's very different.
And that's what I hear, you know, and you have a very traditional stance. You know, watching you earlier, I was scoping out you hitting some tires. And you were blasting some tires, I think, this morning, right?
Yes, I was. And I have my winter jacket. I can hardly move. I feel like a big.
Well, you said it was pretty cold, so I don't know what the temperature is there. But...
It's 4 degrees.
4 degrees.
So Celsius, yes.
Okay, I'm not sure what that is. I'm not using. I don't know what that is in.
No, because you use Fahrenheit, yes.
Yeah, we're Fahrenheit, so.
Oh, okay.
Probably somewhere. I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know.
It's like very cold, almost before it gets like freezing.
Yeah.
So very cold.
We're pretty much getting a lot of that same type of weather here right now too. Is you know 30 degrees, which is very low temperature. You know, it's cold enough to snow. Right. So
yes, same here. But I still do my training every day. I still go out and do my rounds on the back, you know, I build it from the tires, and I still go do my training. So when people say, no, we have to take a break, we cannot, I say, who say you cannot do training? You can do training if you want to.
Tough it out. Get out there. You know what? That's what I tell people all the time. Get out there. What the hell stops you? It's cold. Yeah. You know what cold is? Cold is just being uncomfortable. That's
yes, exactly.
All it is.
It's just being uncomfortable.
Be uncomfortable.
And because they are too spoiled today. They're so spoiled. They go to fancy gyms, you know, everything's clean and nice. I've been training in Thailand where I was training, sometimes I almost had to kick to the chickens because they were all over my feet, you know. And sharing the same glass with the 15 Chinese guys, you know. So they are so spoiled. They're so spoiled. I said, just get dressed, go out. It's fine.
You'll be. Well, you won't die. You'll be.
No, you won't die.
You won't die.
Yeah, and you will find it difficult to move around, but you can still do your training. You know, so get out.
People think I was nuts because it'd be like minus, whatever degrees here, you know.
Yeah.
Which is like freezing cold. You know, below zero. And I'd go out for a run. I'd be like, you know, and you know, I dress for it. You know, I'm not an idiot.
Yes.
I don't run around in a shorts and a tank top and
no.
But, you know, I got a bunch of clothes on. But, you know, it's a matter of, you know what, once you get moving, it isn't even that bad. I mean, the only thing that gets you in the real cold is when it's really cold is breathing. gets a little more difficult.
Yes. Then you put something here over your nose, and then you can breathing. Okay.
You need a heater to heat up the air.
Or you wear the altitude mask, and then it's like.
Yeah. Then you really can't breathe.
You sound like Darth Vader.
You really can't breathe. But, you know, I mean, that's the dedication it takes, though. You know, when you talk about people who want to reach an elite level of training or elite level of fitness or an elite level, I mean, there's two types of things that go on, right, in fitness. And I always explain this. It's, you know, you have the people that just want to get in decent shape. And if that's all you want to do, that's fine. You just got to change your diet a little bit, eat right. You know, watch the carbs, watch all the calories that you're putting in. Train 4 to 5 days a week, 45 minutes, you know, to an hour at a moderately intense pace, right? That would be all you'd need to do to get in a decent shape, lose some weight, whatever. Now, if you want to reach elite athlete level, it's a different game. That's not it's a whole different game. Now you're talking about two times a day training, 4 to 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, depending on what's going on. And you're doing a whole lot of other stuff, right? So there's two things that go on in that. And that's with any sport, right? For the most part. People who are at elite level, you know, whether it's fighting or CrossFit or whatever or even ultra distance running or, you know, course racing or any of that stuff, you know, from my experience, because I've been involved in all those sports, Olympic lifting, it's a different type of mindset when you're training to be a competitive athlete. That's
it's very different. It's very different. And I sometimes, you know, a lot of people come to my gym, and most guys, they kind of are fascinated about the fighting stuff because they see UFC and all that stuff. They find it cool. They want to be like McGregor and stuff like that. And
make it to the UFC, but that takes a lot of work.
It does. And I say, yeah, but I think it's amazing. Come join training. And then after a while, when they have to push themselves, they kind of start with all the excuses. Oh, today, I hurt a little bit. Oh, my foot hurts. And I'm like, yes, I cannot train today. And I'm like, why can you not train today? Because your foot hurts. So they start building up this kind of excuses. So when you just observe how people, they are acting on this over a period, you will see if they have the X factor, if they don't. Yeah. You know, because you need a special mindset that when it hurts and you're bruised and your shins are blue, you go training anyway.
Yep. And that's the thing. And someone says, oh, my foot hurts. Don't use that foot today. Use the other.
Exactly. Exactly. You know? Then you just don't kick today. We practice some knees, some boxing, some elbows and stuff like that. You don't have to kick, you know?
Or even just conditioning, you know, even just conditioning. What do you need to do to condition yourself today? You know, we'll do 1,000 push-ups, something. Just keep yourself going, right? And that's the motivation. And that's what I was going to ask you when you find, you know, I talk to a lot of athletes and a lot of coaches and a lot of commentators and people like that. I always say, what do you look for in an athlete to know, you know, somebody is, and I think you may have just answered that. What do you look for in an athlete to say, this person's got some potential to get out there and do something real great, and then this person, maybe not, because they're just not there. You know?
Yeah. It is. It's kind of, you take a herd of sheep, and then you take the sheep away, and then you have the goat here. You know, like there's one out of many. You know, but actually, when I see someone, first of all, I look at I feel their dedication in the training. I feel how they work. Like when I say something and the clock starts, they don't start 20 seconds later because they have to, no. They start when the clock goes. Yep. They only have 1 minute break. They start when the clock goes. I want to see the dedication, and I want to see them being very focused on what they do. I want to see that even if it's hard, they keep on going. And when I tell them to do some training by themselves, because we cannot be in a gym for 7 hours a day, they have to go running. Yep. So when I tell them to go running, and I know they go running, I don't have to swing the whip, boom, boom, all the time. Yep. that's for me dedication and motivation. And I look at how they're curious on developing their skills. And it's kind of a whole package. And you can feel, you can see over a period of time, then you can see if they have all these things together and they listen to what you say to them. They don't argue when you tell them to do the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, you kick 500 kicks, you do tomorrow again. They don't argue. Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't make excuses. They go, they just do what they're told to do. Because I've seen it a lot. A friend of mine told me once, he's like, I like training female athletes. Why? Because they tend to not make excuses. Like guys do. I just thought that was great. I was like, yeah, you know what? I know a lot of female athletes, and they don't. They just go, they don't sit there and go, well, I didn't perform today because of this or that, or they just tell it like it is and go for it, right? So it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, I mean, the difference is the mindset, right? Is someone going to go out and do the work? An elite athlete isn't really built in the gym, in my opinion. It's built. No. It's built, and it's not built with the crowd around. It's not with people cheering your name. It's what you do when you're alone.
Yes.
By yourself, and you're in your own little garage or whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
What are you doing then when the crowd isn't there? When when nobody's encouraging you? Left to your own devices, do you still have the motivation to perform, to go get your workout in, right? To sit there 2 hours in your garage by yourself in the freezing cold,
It's dark, it's raining, it's snowing, all the excuses you can bring up, but they don't do it. They just go running.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. Just go do it, right? I got an injured foot right now, right? But I'm still great. You know how I did it, though? I'm going to tell you. The reason I brought that up is because I'm a guy. The reason I brought that up is because I have a heavy bag outside, right? I have one in my house and one outside. And I walked out this morning. I'm out there with my dogs and they're running around. So I'm like, let me drill a couple kicks into the bag, right? Not realizing for 1 second it's been freezing outside.
Oh.
Frozen like a block of ice. I did one kick and I instantly realized that was a mistake.
That's called learning by doing, Steve.
That's called being stupid. But yeah, I was like, let me drill one into here, and as soon as I did, I went hard too. I was like, bang, and I was like,
yeah, sure.
That.
You were not testing it; it was just full power.
I just went right in because I just got done working out inside, and I was already warmed up, and I was drilling the bag downstairs.
Yes.
I was like, let me go out here and I'll drill a couple into the, and like I said, I just happened to be there and I said, let me test out my bag. Big mistake. Wasn't a good idea. Won't make that mistake again. See, that's the difference.
You're never going to do that again.
That's the difference when you get older and you make a mistake once. You don't have to do it twice,
No.
So, so are you, I know you're coaching, and you're doing a lot of work with athletes and is there anything, do you have any fights coming up or right now everything's kind of on hold?
Everything is kind of on hold right now, but hopefully, I don't know yet, but there is some talking about I will fight in Switzerland, but that's not until October. So I want to go to Thailand and have a few fights before and have the preparations. And in the time until that, I am throwing a big event, starting up a Muay Thai league in, first of all, it was just going to be like in Denmark, but I have so many countries from all over Europe, also from United States, from Cuba, New Mexico, from everywhere want to come join this event. And so I put a lot of focus on that, and I want to change a little bit about how it's going on, because I want to go back to the roots in the traditional Muay Thai game, and have a strong league created here in Europe. Because there has been a lot of K1 and K1 is I have deeply respect for the K1 fighting and stuff like that, but it is a different discipline than Muay Thai. And I would really like to bring it back, to bring back the really traditional Thai style in fighting. And I want to build up a league where we make tournaments. I make a 4-man tournament in 67 kilo male for the first time ever in our country. And I will put this event on a little more exclusive level. And I want to give them a good experience with this. So I will put my focus on that one and still keep up all my training. And Thai trainer will come from Thailand in 1st of March, hopefully, helping to prepare the fighters. So, but of course, I kind of shut down that this is, the COVID-19 and stuff like that. And I put it on May month. So I hope we have different restrictions at that time.
Yeah.
But I keep my hope high, and I have faith in that it will go away or something like that. So, but it's a quite big venue, so we can get joined with some people there. So I look forward to that.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, no matter how long it takes, you got to remember this, and this is the positivity that I'm throwing out: is it can't last forever. It will end at some point. And it will, and we'll all get through it, and we'll be able to come out of it better for it at the other side. I think, I mean, that's my opinion. Yes. And please send me.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'd love to see the information on that. I may know some people from the U.S. that might want to come out and join the fun.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, it's and one of the things I wanted to ask as well is like, so you fight in Denmark and you fight in Thailand, and you fight you fight in a lot of different places. Now, Thailand has very different rules, right? Or is it the same? Or are they the same rule set? I know they're big on betting in Thailand. If you lose a fight, they get pissed off at you if you lose, if they had money on you.
Yes. Actually, my last fight, it was, I do Vicrew because it's for me it's something I always do. I do a full Vicrew before I'm fighting because I think it's in the tradition and the culture, and also because I really want to be humble and show my respect and my thankfulness to the Thai people because they actually opened up and gave us this, And we kind of modeling it into something in between K1 Muay Thai, something like that.
Yeah.
So I want to honor them. And I did my bike crew. And my trainer, he was listening, and they were like, oh, she do good bike crew. She no good fighting. So they bet money on the other girl. Second round, I knocked her in the floor with an elbow, and she didn't get up, And they were so angry.
That was a mistake.
They bet all the money on her, and it was like, oh, that's for long she Dubai crew, no good.
Well, now they know, right? Now they know. So, I mean, you're forced to be reckoned with. You're gonna. I mean, like I said, I was watching you blast them tires. I'm like, okay, all right, she's got it. She's gonna, I was like, wow.
But I am a traditional girl, And the reason why I also want to do this clean Muay Thai league, traditional Muay Thai style, is because when I was a rookie, I had way too many fights where it was like, oh, it's a K1 fighter, but that doesn't matter, Yeah. But it is so different from Thai style.
Yeah.
It's different. Not same style of fighting, When they do K1, it goes really, really fast, and they kick,
Yeah.
But Thai boxing, it's different.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shame because you have to part these things, You don't put karate and taekwondo together and make them fight and say same. You don't do that.
Yeah. No,
so that's kind of one of my points about making this league is that I want to go back because we also still have to show the respect for the Thai people. Now they are losing their gyms and their way of living with Muay Thai, and I don't want it to die. So I think it's very important that we kind of have a focus on this has to be really Muay Thai.
Yeah. And it's going to take time, but we'll build it back. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, people will people are resilient. They will come out of this, and like I said, we'll build.
Oh yes, they will.
And we'll see how it comes back. I mean, I think like I said, I think there's gonna be at the end of this whole thing somewhat of a renaissance.
I think so too.
Where we get to a whole better place. Hopefully.
Yeah, I actually think so. I think we need to have faith. We should just have faith in that, not try to predict the future. Someone, he asked me about the fight event in May. He said to me, but what you think the event is going to be held when there still is COVID-19? And I said to him, hey, I could answer that question if I was God. And he was like, oh yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You can't stop planning. You got to, you got to plan and then kind of say, okay, if I need to make adjustments at that time, I'll make adjustments at that time.
Exactly.
But now let's just move forward and let's plan as if things are going to be open and things are going. And, like I'm doing the same thing. Trust me, I had to cancel a bunch of expeditions this year that I had going on. I had a bunch of things happening and I had to cancel this entire year, even into this month. I'm supposed to be actually going on an expedition out to Tiger Beach. And
wow.
I go there every year in January and do shark feeds. But we had to cancel that trip this year just because, like I said, I got people coming in from Holland. I got people coming in from all over the place.
Wow. Yeah.
And I can't get people into the country, even though I could go down to Florida right now and I could get out to the Bahamas.
Yes. But you can't get people coming.
I can't get the people here. That's the problem. So.
Oh, yeah. But I think, like you say, I think it's important that we keep on planning stuff, and also kind of, because we also give hope, we plan stuff, we want to do stuff, and what the hell, we can just postpone it. We just have to put the date, but we still have the game going on, So I think we don't have to kind of like, okay, I might go into deep depression now. I think it's very important that we kind of do things like we used to do it and then go for the best.
Yeah, I think if you don't plan and you don't have some kind of hope that this is what choice do you have but go into depression, right? If you don't start to set yourself up to come out of this in a different way, if you don't start to say, okay, well, I'm going to plan a vacation. If I have to cancel it, I cancel it, but I'm going to plan it,
Yes.
And that's one thing people don't realize too, going into the psychological perspective is, what do people get out of vacation? The best time of a vacation, actually, what they see creates the most neurochemicals in a positive way is the planning of a vacation.
Yes, it is.
It's the planning where people get the most, what we say, dopamine response, or, they get the most endorphin rush out of it is when you're planning a vacation, not actually when you get on the plane and go. So
it's a whole planning.
Plan it, right? If you got to cancel it or move it or do whatever you got to do it. I mean, that's basically what I've been doing. I've been just kind of moving things along.
Yes.
Keep doing that, and I'm going to stay positive, and I know you're going to stay positive, and you're going to
absolutely 100
ass out there and them tires up and getting ready for your next fight, and I can't wait to see that. And keep coaching people, and hey, I may need some tips from you myself because I got a problem with turning my hip.
Most people do have that problem, Steve.
Yeah, I know. I'm good on the ground. It's just standing up, turning my hip. It's been one of my trainers. I work with New York State kickboxing champ Jenny Nadell. Phenomenal kickboxer, amazing.
Yes.
Muay Thai. She actually trains with Ray Longo, who's supposed to, he's a legendary striking coach.
Yes.
I'm sure you know who he is, but
I know you.
Yeah, so she's been working with me for a while now, and it's always turn that hip. Tells me to relax too. My relaxation, I don't relax. I get very excited, and she says,
"It's kind of, you have to put your strength into what you're doing, but you have to relax." So many people get so confused.
That's it.
But I have some very good ballet exercises that will make your hip. I tell you, 100%.
Well, that'd be great. Like I said, it's one of those things where, because I'll throw, and I throw. She's like, you hit like a truck, but your jab doesn't have to knock somebody out. Your jab is setting up your cross. You know, your jab sets up your cross sets up your hook. You know, these are setups. She's always yelling at me to relax. Actually, I have a funny meme that I have her going like this, and she's like, "Steve, relax."
Yes. sounds like me. You know, it sounds like me. Why are you so tense? Relax. Survive. Be happy. You know.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know?
I usually say that to people, like, you have to be happy. Smile when you're training, because when you smile, then you're more open-minded for learning skills, you know, not when you're like, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Just stay open-minded. You learn much better in this way.
I try to kill the pads. No matter when I'm hitting them, I try to kill the pads. I gotta learn to set things up better. You know, that's my big problem. That's one of my big problems. I have several issues in my game, but that's one of them that I really need to work on. But
I actually think that a big challenge when people are starting is that the body kind of hurries, you know, so they throw punches and kick, and there's no control at all. So we have to get down at 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Slow down. Slow everything down.
Slow down. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And you know, she says to me, "You like throwing combinations, but you got to slow down a little bit."
Yes. You have to follow the pads.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm working on it. My striking's getting a whole lot better. It's just, it's just continuous work, you know, like I said.
Yes.
And as I go, it'll get even better. So, you know, like I said,
you have to work, Steve. And you have to have patience, and you have to throw that damn jab 10,000 times, and you know, and kick.
Yeah, but my foot hurts today.
Oh yes, I hear something about you kick the frozen back.
Listen, I really had a great time talking to you today. This is awesome. I mean, is there
likewise
anything you want to promote? Anything else out there that you want to throw out there to tell people about? Or you know, is there anything, web pages, anything you want to throw out?
Oh, the thing I really want to throw out is about that Muay Thai Super Fight League series that I have going on here. I think it's nice when people support new things, and it's also I want people to get more together about this sport, because in our country it's a very small country, and people, they are not happy when other people succeed in something. So for me, it's like I want to change the whole mindset about how we do this real stuff with Muay Thai. And this Super League I think it's going to be great success here. And I would really appreciate, of course, if people who follow and support it, and the fighters that don't get fight now for the first event, they be signed up in our journals, so we put them into a fight, because I know how it is to be the fighter that is overlooked.
Yeah.
You know, and work to find fights, you know. So I kind of say to people, just keep sending me your profiles. I will put you in line here, so I will make sure that you're going to get a fight and be a part of this league, because there's room for everybody who has a mindset and wants to go fighting. So for the promotion part, people are welcome. I make promotion in fights for amateurs, for professionals. I have some good fighters lined up. Great. So anybody who's interested, go follow the pages on Facebook, Super Fight League Denmark. And
on Facebook, right? And on Instagram as well. Are you on Instagram?
Yes,
and
exactly. I have it on there for social media. So take a look, and the more you support and share, the more we get united as one Muay Thai family. And that's my dream and my goal.
That's awesome. So you're a fighter, you're a coach, and now a promoter. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Because at some point, Steve, I'm going to retire, so I have to think about my future. So,
hey.
So I've been in the game so long, you know. I know what kind of challenges you meet as a fighter. Like in Denmark, we don't have professional teams like with managers and promoters. We don't have anyone to take care of our interests, so we have to do all the work ourselves, and it's really, really tough work. So I want fighters to know that you can come, you can sign with me, and then I will make sure that your interests are taken care of. So you just do your training, and then I will do what I can to bring you out to go for getting your dreams fulfilled. Because that is so tough in our country. It's really, really, really tough.
I think it's tough anywhere too, because it's good to see a good person who's going to do that. Because there's a lot of people out there that take advantage of fighters too. I've seen that happen a lot, where people, there's a lot of bad promoters.
So many. Oh yes.
So it's good to see good people. It's good to see people getting involved in that world. I try. Even on this podcast, I do a lot of young fighters that are just coming up. I do a lot of interviewing of young fighters coming up, because I want to support them, get them out there, and try to, because I know how hard it is. It's a tough road.
It is really tough. It is really tough, and you have to not only you have to go and do fighting in the gym. You also have to go fighting with all this. How can I get the fights? I just want to fight, and how can I get to the right places? And I want to help people not having such a hard time. It's a hard time no matter what with the training, but to focus on the training and getting better. And you have people that you can count on will do the best for you. Not kind of like take advantage and have a hidden agenda or something. I just want to help people to go after the goals. And
so it's so important. This way the fighter can just concentrate on fighting.
Yes.
Not all that crap that goes along with it, because there's a lot of shady other stuff that goes along with it, and other things that you got to really be focused on, and you need to look out for you. I think that's really important. It's good to see someone like yourself who's doing that and taking that on and helping fighters get out there and get a good deal and get some fights going and get some recognition. And like I said, it sounds like whatever I can do to support that, I will. So please, any links you could send me some links. I'd be happy to put them out.
Amazing.
Get that.
Amazing, Steve.
All right. So
thank you.
This was an awesome conversation. It was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you today. I'm sure we're going to have you back on and get you back on the show and talk later on down the road, once the world comes back to normal a little bit, and we'll talk more about all this stuff and see what's going on. And
it's going to be amazing.
Love to see what's next for you. So
yes, me too, and thank you so much for having me on this interview. I really enjoyed talking to you, and one good advice for you: put ice on your foot next time you hit the bag.
People have been telling me that for a long time. Every time I get injured, put ice on it, and I always I'm not, one thing I'm good at, I'm really good at telling other people what they need to do to take care of themselves. I am not very good at it myself.
I know that problem. Don't do what I do. You do what I say.
There you go. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been an honor. And, you have a great rest of your day, and look forward to the new year, because I think it's going to be a good one.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Be good.